I quit the theater after 45 minutes to avoid this lobotomy through the eyes.
Like your career was the theater, and you're like, I quit.
He's just out, just walked out. You'll never see me again.
Who's coming with me?
Scene after scene, shot after shot, line after line, action after action of completely random, nonsensical, illogical, unnecessary, uninspired, CGI overdone, artificial looking, miscasted, disjointed mess.
Oh my gosh.
That person really doesn't like the theater.
Yeah.
Fury Road was a Shakespearean drama compared to this.
If anything, it'd be the other way around. Anyways.
That was a 1-star review on IMDb. Hello and welcome. We are Spoilers Intended, a podcast about series and films. I'm Steven, joined as always by Andrew.
I am Andrew.
And also Ryan.
I am Dr. Demento now.
Pardon me?
That was my Australian now. Now. Every Australian listener just like drove off the road.
Travis is going to have a word with you after this.
I'm sure you will. I apologize, Travis.
Don't
In
apologize.
advance.
He lives in Australia.
Oh.
Which honestly is pretty cool.
Well, that logically, that just means he's a criminal.
Oh, because it's a debtors colony, right?
Yeah.
No, that was a penal colony.
Oh, New Zealand was the debtors colony.
I don't think so. I think New Zealand was just the promised
They just
land
had
for
sheep.
Australians.
See, what they taught me in American education systems was that Australia was the penal colony from the UK, and then New Zealand was the penal colony from Australia. And so it just runs down.
The worst penal colony.
The best part about New Zealand, though, is nothing wants to kill you there. Everything that wants to kill you is in Australia.
It's in Australia.
Yeah. Somehow.
Wow.
Just a little bit of ocean.
It's weird how that works
Crazy.
out. Yeah.
I was wanting to go to Australia.
I'd love to go to Australia.
Well,
Let's go. What are we waiting on, boys?
Let's go.
Use those big, thick Patreon dollars.
Yeah. We can pay for 1/100th of one ticket. Draw straws.
Here's your packet of peanuts. That's all we bought.
Yeah. You just get on the flight and they're just like, I'm sorry, we're just out of Atlanta, and they kick you out the door.
No, it would on that money we would have to like put one of us in a duffel bag and just like stuff us and check it and be like, good luck, it's an international flight. Ah!
The other one's like trying to run and match the wheels and get up into the wheel well, just take it off. Okay, well.
Never mind, I was going to keep going. But
We're all having fun.
We've beaten this to death already.
Yes.
But on that note, today we are talking about Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, in case this all
I
didn't
hate
give it
that
away.
subtitle. It's so stupid.
Well,
Okay.
I actually
Speak on that.
I actually thought the title
Let me
was
tell you.
Mad Max Furiosa, which made sense because that's how all the other titles have been. And they did this, and I was like, oh, is it just like you want to like protect the Mad Max? You want to make sure that they know that it's
that
really
it's
Mad
not
Max.
it's not a franchise. It is a franchise film, but it's
Right.
not like part of the main storyline.
but it's
the main
guarantee-
storyline is all over the place, anyways.
Oh,
Doesn't matter.
sure.
Yeah.
But
it's
I
like the
guarantee it was some kind of
opposite.
marketing group. They did research, and
Oh,
it's
I'm
like
sure,
people
yeah.
don't recognize the name Furiosa.
Furiosa.
No,
yeah.
what they did, right?
Oh.
So you have
I didn't know
Mission
you were there.
Impossible 7, Dead Reckoning Part 1, right? So every other one of these, they tell you what it is, and then they put the colon, and then they tell you what the name of the title is for
Yeah.
that film.
Sure.
But this is an Australian production, so they put the title of the film first, and
Oh,
they told
it's
you
a-
the fr-
it's
they
upside
flipped-
down.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
upside
upside
down.
down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Go
got
down
it.
under.
I mean, like when they're standing up in Australia, they're actually standing upside down.
Yeah.
When you flush the toilet, it goes the other way.
It does,
The water
yeah.
circles the
That's
other way.
actually true.
That's wild to me.
That's at least true.
I know. I found that out from The Simpsons. Why is that what's teaching me this kind of stuff?
Back in the 90s.
The U.S. education system. That's
I
pretty
know.
dang sure.
How does toilets flush in Antarctica? How does it do it in Russia? Tell me. I want secrets everywhere.
Well, when you flush a toilet in Antarctica, it just goes out in every direction.
No,
But here's
no,
the thing.
No. It doesn't. It goes.
What happens at the equator? Does it just go straight down? Just
It's the infinite energy hack.
it never stops spinning.
It's like
You didn't flush it, did you? Ah!
It's like the plane toilets. You don't want to lean over too close because it might suck you out. Just
No, wait, I
so-
guess at the South Pole or North Pole, that's where it goes straight down. It's
Well, that's why they actually turn off the availability to go to the bathroom on planes, because whenever you're going over the equator, they have to make sure you don't flush the toilet. So it just sucked the whole plane out of the air.
It could bend the plane frame. If you're Boeing, that's probably true.
Actually,
It could bend it more.
actually, that's what happened in Lost. Didn't you know?
You can tell me that, and I would believe you because I never finished Lost.
That could actually be J.J.
Yeah.
Abrams back in like 2000 was like, this is genius.
Yeah. What was it? Robert Orci? He's just like, yes.
Oh man. Okay, before we get into some basic info on Furiosa, gut check reactions, boys. What do we think about this film?
I liked it.
I liked it. It's not as good as Fury Road, but I liked it.
I don't think
It's not supposed to be.
We'll get there.
But
yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
I think as a film, it's not as solid as Fury Road, but it's still good.
Yeah.
It's different.
It is, yeah.
I think
Emphatically different.
I think
Yeah.
there are a lot of things that prevent me from saying it's great, but it's
Yeah.
still good.
yeah.
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 It wasn't a bad film by any means.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we have
A consensus.
A quorum. Thank you. Yes. I couldn't come up with the word consensus. My brain was like quorum. That's easier. Like, no, it's not.
Well, I don't even know that vocabulary word.
It's worse.
Andrew's over here like, I don't know what I'm agreeing to right now, but I guess I'm in.
I'm again it.
Look, I was educated in the South, and that should tell you everything.
Oh,
Not in
boy.
Tennessee.
Listen, I was West Tennessee. We couldn't afford banjos in West Tennessee. That's East Tennessee. That's that
You had
mountain
the-
money.
You had the jaw harp.
No, see, what we had is those cigar box guitars on the string of a broom. Yeah, that's all we had.
Oh my
gosh.
A real working banjo, hottie da.
You use rubber bands for the
Yeah,
strings.
doing.
Ryan watches the technology in Fury Road and Furiosa, and he's like, "Man, that's some highfalutin stuff right there."
The future is
That
going to be
Camaro looks like
wild.
something I saw when I was a kid.
Oh man,
I could tell stories. That could be its own bonus episode.
Oh, no,
Anyways, let's get on with this.
I remember somebody I was recently online and they referenced like, the guy was like a true redneck. He had the Camaro primer gray. And it's like, oh man, I know exactly what that looks like.
We got the IROC Z.
It's bad when you watch Fury Road and you're like, I've seen a car like that. I know a guy that has a car just like that.
Oh,
We got with the
No
six
mods.
wheels with the monster truck.
oh gosh. Okay. So a quick synopsis on this, and this is the worst synopsis.
Okay.
The origin story of renegade warrior Furiosa before her encounter and team up with Mad Max.
She's not a renegade warrior.
Just in case you want to know that this movie relates to Mad Max.
I think, Andrew, you'll find that all children are renegade warriors.
Oh please.
They're all renegades against their parents, Andrew.
That made me throw up in my mouth a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know why they wrote that. That's ridiculous.
Is that from IMDb?
With this, yes.
Oh god. This is terrible.
Well, it's typically the safest way to get one because if you're like, oh, well, let's see what people said about this, they tell the whole plot in 2 sentences. Like, could you
Well,
not?
I mean,
Yeah.
like sometimes I will fish outside of
Just
IMDb,
to see what's out there,
Yeah,
yeah.
to see what's out there because there are better ones than that. For
Well,
dang sure.
But see, I kind of like it when the synopsis is bad.
It's just terrible.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you
That is
anything.
a terrible synopsis.
Yeah.
But it's true though. Everything that it said in this is true and accurate to the movie.
Probably yes.
No, not probably. Definitely.
She's not a renegade warrior.
Oh.
Later in the movie, she kind of
By Fury Road, she definitely is.
define renegade, Andrew. Go ahead.
What's
Against the grain. I don't know.
the grain
Grains
here?
of sand. I don't know.
boy.
She's against things in this movie.
She's definitely against a lot of things in this movie.
So that's a renegade. By your own definition. Hoisted by his own petard.
Oh gosh! All right. So this movie was directed by George Miller.
yep.
Is also written
Yes.
by George Miller
Nice.
and Nick. Oh boy, I hope Apple didn't correct this on me. Lathoris.
Lathoris?
Lathoris? Yeah, that's right.
Lathoris the
It
thesaurus?
looks like thesaurus, but it's Lathouris.
Lartris. I don't know.
So he also worked on Fury Road, and he's actually credited as a grease rat in the original Mad Max.
Nice.
Okay.
So
he's been around.
I'm just going to go with the Australian film.
He knows the lore inside and out.
It's very very small and compact.
Yeah.
Music by Tom Holkenborg.
Hulkenborg.
It's weird that he was Tom Hulkenborg for this one, but Junkie XL for the other one.
Also thought that was strange.
I wonder if he
but
stopped crediting himself as Junkie XL somewhere in the past 10 years.
No, he realized
had a
that Tom
midlife
Hulkenborg is a
crisis.
cooler
He
name.
had a
That's what it
midlife
was?
crisis and was like, "This is a stupid name. I already have an awesome name."
Or do you think when he walks into the studio, he's like, okay, who's walking in today? Is it Junkie XL? Or is it Tom Hulkenborg? Because they're two different people.
Am I?
There's two wolves inside each of us, guys.
Am I going for the junkie feel or the Borg feel?
Yeah.
Can I get this straight?
He was feeling the Borg on this one. That's a t-shirt, feeling the Borg. TM. We've got it on
The
tape.
Borg.
feeling the Borg.
What is the dude who created Star Trek? Gene Roddenberry's going to come back from his grave after you on that one.
No, Gene.
Whoever owns
gonna
Star
send you a
Trek at
cease
this
and
point.
desist.
Does Disney own Star Trek now?
No.
It's Paramount, right?
Paramount, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And you're less likely to get a cease and desist there.
Yeah.
If it
Yeah,
was Disney, the
probably.
mouse would be right at your house, man.
That was good. That was a good rhyme.
That's how it works.
It's all right.
it?
It's not. Come on. It's all right. Don't build him up too much. His head's already so big, Andrew. Come on.
The headset barely fits.
Yeah, no, it's just like it's breaking up the
Headphones are
seams
just
here, yeah.
straining.
This is our third pair this week.
All right, let's get back on task. We've
Oh, man.
had quite a few diversions.
What do we have? So this movie stars Anya Taylor-Joy. Oh, no. Why? Why would you correct Chris Hemsworth to Christ Hemsworth Apple?
I think it's pretty obvious why. Them abs.
Chris Hemsworth.
I mean, he does kind of have a white robe for a little while.
He also, I mean, he's got the beard, he's got the long hair.
Yeah, huh.
Hey.
A little bit.
Yeah, Christ Hemsworth.
And
There we
you
go.
know, give it another decade or so, and Grandma's gonna have Thor on the wall instead of Obi-Wan.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, gosh.
Tom Burke, Alila Brown, Elsa Pataki, who is
The young Furiosa.
Alila Brown is young Furious.
Okay.
Elsa Pataki is
Chris Hemsworth's wife.
Chris Hemsworth's wife.
Yeah.
Two, the other lady from the Green Place at the start of the movie.
Oh, okay.
She actually plays two roles in the film.
Okay, I was like,
She was Dominic's wife in Fast and the Furious. The one that gets, was it Fast?
Spoilers.
7?
Oh my god.
I didn't say anything.
Dominic's wife?
Yeah.
You mean
Or,
Family.
he had the kid with her.
Brian's?
No.
What?
Remember she's in, Charlize Theron has her in the little glass prison with the kid?
Oh, her.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
She's the cop.
It's been a minute. Yeah.
I think in 5 is when she's introduced.
She is the cop in 5.
Tangent
She's
the
not
episode.
wife.
Welcome
They're
aboard,
not
everybody.
wife. There's not husband and wife though.
We're struggle busting here.
Definitely the mother of his child.
Yeah, absolutely. That is correct.
I misspoke when I said wife.
Yes.
Pardon me for misconstruing the
he had
fast
a
lore.
wife. I mean, he had Letty, but Michelle Rodriguez was not in this movie.
Baby mama.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. Nathan Jones and many, many more.
Yes.
Yeah, so Tom Burke is like completely unknown. This is like his first. Like
I didn't know who he was.
He
at all
like I looked at his filmography. So he was he was basically the other kind of like lead ally in the film for Furiosa.
Yeah.
And I looked at his like filmography, and it's all like super small stuff. So this is like
He's been in a bunch, but
he's been in a lot of stuff. It's just nothing that I've.
So I'll toss some early trivia here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he nearly broke down and cried when he found out his character was noble and heroic because all his previous roles were, and I quote, lousy people.
Oh, good. Good for him. He played it well. I actually really liked his character a lot.
I thought that was quite good. It was unexpected.
Yeah, it really was
In a
too.
lot of
Because like
ways.
it's especially when you're going into like these kind of films, everyone's kind of a dirtbag.
Yeah, well, there's so many dirtbags around
Yeah.
everything. It's like, oh, it's a breath of fresh air. To
Yeah,
have somebody who's,
have like someone
actually-
that like doesn't have this weird ulterior motive. They're
Yeah.
he's just being nice.
I have words about his character for later.
I mean, sure, that's
But
fine.
You could put those together into sentences. It's wild.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy how that works.
It's wild.
So budget for the film was $168 million.
That's actually pretty cheap
That's
compared to
better
other
than
films.
That's
stuff,
better
yeah.
than Disney paying $200 million plus for people who animated
Or
something.
almost like 500, 300 something.
350 for Dial of Disappointment?
Yeah.
James Cameron spends that on lunch. He's like, whatever.
Him and Michael Bay are ordering lobsters.
He's
to
just
the
not, he's
crew.
on a whole different level though.
I want a $186 million lobster delivered to my table, please.
It needs to be fresh.
Yeah. Get it from under the water because I like the water.
Well, no, he has to get it from Challenger Deep.
Like the Marianas Trench or something.
Yeah. He's like, if you don't go down there, and this thing is
They gotta
not.
bring it up, load it onto an SR-71 to jet it to LA so it stays fresh. This sucker's only been out of the trench for less than 30 minutes.
Ew, it's still the cold. Anyways.
So box office, and it's weird. I found some conflicting numbers on this for the domestic opening.
It wasn't good.
It was not good, but so one place said 25.6 million, and another said 32 million.
It
saw
was 32.
32, yeah.
So Either way, both places I saw consistently cited this as the lowest opening for Memorial Day weekend domestically since Casper in 1995.
Yeah, so like 30 years basically.
What's crazy
Essentially, yeah.
is that like Garfield, the new animated reboot with Chris Pratt.
I didn't even know that was still coming out.
Because he gets to voice every character.
Everything.
You've already got Mario Chris Pratt.
Leave Garfield alone.
Leave my Garfield alone.
For Timothy Chalamet. What is he going to do?
What's Jimmy Shams doing? He's bored at the house.
Actors.
Anyways, that was out this weekend, and there was something else, but like all three did like pitiful. Like compared to what
no one was going to
they
the
did
movies
not
this
meet
weekend.
projections, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think Memorial Day used to be like a big movie weekend.
It's typically a big, this is the start of the summer blockbuster season.
But now it's like a big travel weekend. I think they said travel this year broke every record we've ever
that
had.
wouldn't
As far
surprise me in
as
the least bit. But either way, not a good domestic box office.
No, not at all.
No, yeah.
So as of recording, we're recording this the weekend or the week after opening weekend.
Yeah.
It was up to 58.9 million globally for
Which
opening
is still
weekend.
not a great sign.
Well, you've got a $168 million budget. You need at least to break over 300 before we start talking about
Like profit.
making our money. Yeah. And I mean, currently, supposedly, Miller has plans for another movie, provided this one does well enough.
So the thing is too, because I mean Miller doesn't have objectively a ton of films under his belt. The films that he has made have been successes, for the most part. But I think this one, it just wasn't advertised well.
I will say,
because
the trailers didn't look very good.
The trailer looked terrible.
Yeah, they didn't do a great job in the trailer of selling someone who's a huge fan of Fury Road on seeing the movie, which I feel like is a big issue.
It wasn't a big miss because I saw it was coming out. I'm like, okay, sure. I mean, Furiosa was a cool character. I definitely want to go see it. But then I saw the trailers. I was like,
Yeah. Well, he's got a different cinematographer this time around, and you can tell for sure.
You can definitely tell.
Yeah.
Now, I will say there's some fantastic scenes in there.
Oh, yeah.
Like cinematography wise and visuals are still really good.
Well,
but
there's still some George Miller classics, the kind of shots
for
that you
sure.
just expect in a Mad
he
Max
still
film.
has better action chops than most people.
Yeah.
But the big thing here going into this or coming out of the film was it doesn't have this is a story that has action with it, not a movie that is an action set piece like Fury Road was.
It didn't do the Jackie Chan where it's like, let's contrive a reason for him to be somewhere he shouldn't be, so he has to fight people.
Correct.
It was like, hey, let's tell a story. Oh, yeah, we dragged George Miller out here. We should, do we have an 18-wheeler over around here somewhere we can drive through the desert?
We got any leftovers from Fury Road? Yeah. No, I feel like it was more just like I thought the performances were good.
Yeah.
But I think at its core, the story it's trying to tell is way more complex than Fury Road's.
Oh, very.
And it, like, where Fury Road is like, this is what we're doing, and they nail it. This is like, we're doing this more complicated thing, and we kind of did it.
They get mostly there.
I think my problem, and this isn't a spoiler, this is just generally speaking, I still feel like the most interesting part of Furiosa's story happens in Fury Road. So like this whole movie, I'm watching it, I'm enjoying it, but even at the end of it, I was like, I still feel like the best part
her best character arc happens in Fury
Road. So it's not that this movie doesn't justify its existence. It's just, I think this is the danger with prequels sometimes, is that like, we've already got the best stuff. So now you're giving us I loved like the world building and like building out Gastown and some of the other places, Bullet Farm.
Bullet Farm, yeah.
But her story specifically, even though I felt like, Anya Taylor-Joy and what they did with her character in Furiosa in the movie was good, it still is less interesting than what happened with her character in Fury Road.
Well, and that's the problem with prequels in general is because we know the fate of the character, we don't have any reason to care about her physical plights that she's in throughout the film. So that means now you have to add emotional weight to it.
Else to it. Yeah.
So that means you're already on the back foot trying to like get ahead of it to give us something to care about for this character.
You have to create some kind of tension. Well, and also you fall into the weird pitfall that like all the IP-based movies run into too, which is like, oh, we got to show Han getting his gun.
Yeah, we don't care about that.
And like, we got to show Furiosa getting, losing half her arm.
To be fair, that is actually
that was at least a decent scene.
Yeah,
but like you run into the problem of we have to. At the end of this film, we have to meet these criteria, which means you're already in a box somewhere.
But I feel like they did a pretty good job, and we'll wait till past the spoiler wall of like, there's several things they could have been like, and this is how this happened.
yeah.
But
Oh,
they didn't
yeah.
do. They showed restraint. So I still feel like the story they told was good, and the way George Miller, because apparently he's had this idea for the story since Fury Road.
No, it was written before.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it was existing.
So
at the same
fun
time.
trivia. The script was complete before Fury Road was filmed, because they wanted to have a backstory for Furiosa to give a reason for why she's doing what she's doing.
Okay,
so the
and
script
then they're
was
like,
already,
hey, let's turn it into a movie.
The script was already set and done before they got Fury Road filming.
Yeah.
So then they were just like, well, we have a whole nother script here. And on some levels, I'm kind of like, man, I kind of almost wish you had like just done this in the reverse order.
So, do you guys remember the Mad Max open world game that came out in like 2017?
Yeah.
It was like right after, or 2016. It was right after Fury Road.
Vaguely, yes.
So it has the third Immortan Joe brother, or the son, Scrotus, the dude that's like new in this one.
Yeah.
He's featured in that, and a lot of the stuff with Gastown and Bullet Town is like, even though it's not directly related to Fury Road,
You get to see the places.
they still had some of the story elements that we see in this movie was present.
Oh, that's kinda cool.
Because George Miller, like you said, already had like a lot of this kind of built out, like the world building of like, this is what we want to do. Which makes me want to go back and play it. Because
I appreciate that he actually had
an
ideas
open world
built
Mad
out.
Max game sounds fantastic.
it's all about car. You upgrade your car, you change your car. It's like a lot of car
open world
combat.
Mad Max game. Well, how big can it be? You can't leave Australia.
I mean, Australia's
Wow.
pretty
It's
dang
huge,
big.
right?
You act like Australia's a parking lot or something. It's huge.
I've seen the globe. It's not very big. New Zealand doesn't exist. It's not on the map.
It's barely there. But like, I think that the ideas are there in this story. It just kind of it runs into some of those issues where, it's not even I think the threat of like, well, we know Furiosa is going to survive because she's in Fury Road. It's more that like they have to put an emotional reason behind you caring, because you don't want to see her lose somebody, like a new character or something like that. And I feel like they delivered on some of it, but not all of it.
Yeah,
and we'll talk more after the spoiler.
Yeah, it
wall.
did. I mean, like I would say, like if you're giving it like a percentage, like I think it like 85% there of like what I was expecting, but not in a bad way. I was like, after the movie, I was like, I enjoyed watching this. There were some really good moments in here, and there's some fantastic action set pieces that they do still. That like, I mean, clearly George Miller is still very good at what he does.
Yeah. Well, I almost feel like I came out of the film being like, wow, George, you gave me a lot more story that I expected to hear, and you didn't blow up as many things as I kind of wanted you to. So I don't know how I feel about that right now.
So my wife and I, when we got out of the theater, were kind of meh on it. And I have appreciated it more with like every hour that passes since I watched it, because I think I went in wanting more Fury Road.
This is why Ryan didn't sleep well last night. He woke up at 3 a.m.
I just tossing and turning. No.
That was the masterpiece moment.
That was it. No, it just, the more I look back on it and think about it, I'm like, I think my initial reaction wasn't as high because I just wanted more Fury Road.
Yeah.
And it's not that. It's definitively not just more Fury Road.
And I'm actually glad that he didn't try and one up himself.
Because
I mean, like Fury Road is arguably one of the best action films ever made.
But also it would make it almost kind of silly. Because again, this is the problem with a prequel, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, we showed you this beaten down, rough world, and now we go back in time and look at how cool they are. They had all these. They have rocket packs. You're like, why didn't they have that in Fury Road?
Yeah.
Like,
you can't undo what you've already.
Right,
And you also have this moment where it's like, if everyone's freaking out about this moment in Fury Road, you can't have an even crazier moment before it, because then you're like, well, why is everybody weirding out in Fury Road if they survive this thing?
That was the coolest turn of an 18-wheeler I've ever seen. And the prequel comes out and they do it 3 times.
Yeah.
What?
This is old hat.
Yeah.
And I think they do a fantastic...
How did you not expect her to do that? She did it 3 times.
Right.
I definitely think they did a good job at subverting expectations, because the story kind of going into it... What?
Just that term.
Okay. I don't know.
I felt like Ryan Johnson walked across my grave.
But
he will one day.
But yeah, going into the main story part of the film, I was expecting it to go one direction, and then they kind of like turned it on its head, and then you're like, oh, okay, this actually kind of makes more sense, and I don't mind it.
100%.
See,
yeah.
what's interesting is I didn't necessarily feel like I was subverted so much as I felt like there was a point in the movie where I was like, where are we going? What's happening here? And then stuff finally started happening. I was like, okay, cool. So this is what's going to happen.
Well,
but like, what the heck is going on right now?
Well, because I really think, obviously they have to set her up with Immortan Joe and just like being a trusted confidant or imperator or whatever.
Right.
So you have to get to that
weird
point.
Faux Roman Empire thing going on here in the middle of Australia.
I mean, like the apocalypse happens. You don't question.
There's the whole TikTok thing about how many times a day does your man think about the Roman Empire?
Yeah.
Like, I would like to filter that and apply it to just Australia and see if does that alter the results?
Australian patrons, let us know.
Let us know.
Travis, I know Travis is in that list. Call him out.
We're waiting with bated breath on the phones.
We're waiting on your phone call. We've got the hotline open. Come on, Travis.
It's like, let's see. Do the conversion.
It's 555.
Just hit 5 till we answer.
It's like it's like 9 a.m. there right now.
Don't try the math.
It's hard. It's difficult.
Get him on the horn.
You can't count the grains of sand in that dust storm, just like you can't count the amount of content on spoilersintendedpodcast.com.
Actually, they can. There's a whole list.
It's actually numbered and organized neatly because it's a website.
Just like sand.
Yeah.
Just like sand.
That's right. Our content is coarse, rough, and it gets everywhere.
Just like getting everywhere, we have a Discord. I don't even
Well, you can get on
that.
Discord from everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go.
There it is.
Hey.
But yeah, so we have a Discord. You should come and join us. We love to talk about all the new stuff that we're watching, what books we're reading,
Games we're playing.
obviously what new movies have come out that we all want to talk about. We have spoiler channels that you can go listen in or talk in, and without having to worry about spoiling it for other people that haven't seen it yet. Yeah. It's honestly a good community. You should come and join.
Yeah, it's great. If you've ever said, I would give my left arm to have a good podcast to follow on social media.
Half of my left arm.
Half of your left arm, Pedantic Pete, if you'd like to follow a good podcast on social media, then I've got a deal for you. We've got an Instagram and, get ready, a Facebook.
Wow.
Oh.
Yes.
Tell me more.
We post what we're going to be watching next week, fun behind the scenes, etc., etc. It's a good time. Please follow us. We would really appreciate it.
And we're back. We have successfully navigated the trackless wastes and have entered the lush green place of spoilers.
The green place
I don't know.
of
There
spoilers.
are definitely a lot of roads in the wastelands.
There are some really nice, well-repaired roads.
I mean, well,
I think that's just because we live in Alabama. We're kind of like, well, man, these are nice roads.
I mean, we live near Birmingham.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just potholes are everywhere.
Now, to be fair, if the entire society is revolving around cars and roads,
sure,
you would probably have a crew that would go out and fix the holes that you create.
And they're like sacred, like no one attacks them because it's like the road fixer.
Well, see, this is I just assumed because it's a desert and it's dry and nothing really changes that the roads just kind of maintain as they are. You go by the coastline.
Nature takes care of itself,
Nature is healing.
The dust recognizes the asphalt as one of itself.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Oh boy. All right, let's jump into a little bit of trivia here. We got a few tastes of it before the break, but we'll kick it off with a fun fact.
Let's go.
So Anya Taylor-Joy had to learn how to do multiple driving stunts.
Yeah.
She does not have a driver's license.
Nice.
Oh, actually, I do remember hearing about this. That does kind of sound like an Anya Taylor-Joy thing.
Well, I mean,
my person drives me around.
Yeah,
I don't even know if she's like that.
Not even on that. She's just a very artistic kind of
So what you're saying is she lived somewhere in Tribeca in Manhattan, in New York.
Yeah,
I just go into my local bodega and get
Didn't she live in Brazil for a long time?
I have no idea.
I feel like she speaks Portuguese and is from Brazil.
She's actually
you can Google that if you want.
I can Google it.
Yeah. Anyways, while we're talking about that, she only has around 30 lines in the entire film, which is very on par for basically every Mad Max film.
Yeah.
But so I didn't think about this though, because it's kind of weird. She said she would often go months on set without having spoken one line, which when you think about it, is a little strange, but then you're like...
To be an actor?
Yeah, well, you're an actor, but hey, we did 6 days of filming and I haven't said anything on set.
She was raised in Buenos Aires.
Argentina. It's like the Brazil of South America.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. What? I knew it started with a B. What? Get me that far. It started with a B. I got that correct. Come on.
One's a country, one's a city. It's okay. I just like messing with Andrew.
And
also,
she was
also that would mean
my
she would speak
brain.
Spanish.
She was also raised
when you said
Brazil,
that.
South America.
She was also raised in London, which is the Brazil of Europe.
Yes, definitely. I can see the 1-to-1 comparison.
Andrew's reeling.
I don't
Brazil
even know
is
how to process
London,
this.
England is known for its sunny skies and brilliant beaches.
And it's spicy, flavorful food.
Oh my God.
We're just taking them all to task in this episode, boys.
We are going after the current and former British Empire hard right now.
They conquered so many places for spices. Did you leave them there? Bring them back.
They did.
We haven't brought India into this
Spoiler
discussion
alert.
yet, but they did leave them there, yes. So in contrast to some of our discussions about, like, let's say, The Road Warrior, Chris Hemsworth praised the film's smooth production, saying, "I've never been on a set that felt both intimidating, loud, noisy, exhausting, and yet completely safe and in control."
See, that's
George
why
Miller's
it wasn't
come
like
a
Fury
long
Road.
way. George Miller's come a long way since 1980 when they're ragdolling stunt guys.
Well, I mean, but the real thing is like how many people died on set? Probably 0 for this one.
Right.
I would hope so. Good Lord. How many people died on the other side?
Those are
0?
rookie numbers.
Okay.
I mean, George Miller is 79 years old now, so maybe this is his twilight phase.
He's
Yeah.
sitting there watching. He's like, "Whoa, that was really dangerous." Like, dude, he just stepped up a step.
Because it's taking so long for him to make these movies. He's going to be like George R. R. Martin. He's going to start talking about the jets and stuff.
no,
and
no,
then we're going to
no.
make another Mad Max
come on.
film.
Surely he has something. He's in Australia. Why would he?
I'm Googling it.
follow
George
the
Miller.
Jets?
I don't know. They
Fan
like
of
football
jets.
over there.
I don't
Like
think it's
actual
that kind of
football.
Yeah.
Like real football or cricket. They like cricket over in Australia.
Do they? I think rugby is more their speed.
They probably like cricket.
Man, we are making so many people so mad right now.
So I'm looking it up, and George Miller, and there's no evidence he's a fan of the Jets.
Excellent. That's good.
I've got nothing over here.
That's good.
My
It's
extensive
gonna come
research
out-
has pulled
it's
up
gonna come out
nothing.
later that he's a huge fan of the Cowboys. Like, no!
Anyway,
So this was shot in the same desert landscapes as 1982's The Road Warrior.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I think it was the one they were trying to go for with Fury Road before it had like the rainfall.
all the rain
Yeah.
turned it into a green oasis.
Right. No! All these plant life is just popping up. People are like, it's a miracle. He's like, no!
We haven't seen this in 80 years.
Why must you spite me, God?
So the main action sequence revolving around the stowaway
Yeah.
was shot over 78 days.
Man, it's a fantastic sequence.
What's the stowaway sequence?
The first whenever she's trying to actually
She
escape.
stows away onto the 18-wheeler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got
And
it,
then it's getting attacked by all of the Dementus's ex guys.
Yeah.
The,
Okay.
The octopus people
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, the octopus people with the dude with like the really cool like demon helmet.
Sorry, what was messing my brain up is when you say stowaway, I think of like you're hitching a ride to get in somewhere, and she was hitching a ride to get out of.
You could be a stowaway in either direction.
I know, but for some reason in my
Plenty
brain,
of
I
people
always
have
think
stowed
about
away
it
to
like,
get out of like Cuba.
I guess, yeah. I just think of stowing away to get like Speed Racer, the kids in the trunk. You know what I mean? Like you're stowing away to get in there. So I was like,
I'm dying this episode.
when is she leaving? I was like, okay,
Steven, this is just nonsense.
We're murdering Andrew right now.
he'll be fine.
So this
He's
is,
trained for this.
he has had many years of
I've
practice.
had many years.
The problem is I've also had many years of practice.
Okay.
So this is the most expensive Australian film production to date.
Okay.
For a second, I thought you were about to say most explicit. I was like,
No,
I don't know about
I'm
that.
pretty sure that's incorrect.
I feel like that's wrong.
All right, well let's talk about some spoilerific thoughts here.
Okay.
All right, so do we want to kick it off? Favorite moment. Let's be positive to start.
Okay.
It's gonna be hard.
Okay,
Real challenge to
honestly,
be positive. Here, I'm sure.
like obviously, like the stowaway whole set piece is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But honestly, I really, really liked the final kind of like resolution between
Her and Dr. Dementus.
and Dementus.
That's what I was gonna say.
I didn't
because-
realize that he was Dr. Dementus.
It isn't on
It
IMDb.
is on IMDb.
Yeah.
It is. And I was like,
But
really?
honestly,
Yeah.
like Chris Hemsworth absolutely sells out for that last scene.
Oh yeah.
Like he absolutely kills it, and I know you're gonna have something to say about this is not Jason Momoa.
I have
from Fast X.
that's the only problem is because we just saw him.
But
be
he's
the villain
not that.
long
But
ago.
he's
a
not the
totally
type of
different
character.
type of character.
Yeah, he's not the Joker in the Wasteland.
You're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
I just watching that, thinking about, I was like, I feel like Momoa could have been a more So this is actually really
Momoa was like your eccentric aunt turned into a supervillain.
Yes. This is more of an overarching complaint of the Mad Max franchise in that all the villains ultimately are just kind of angry doofuses.
Yeah.
And you're like,
that's kind of the point.
How did you ever get to be in charge of anything?
Because like that's the thing is like you have to like so if you look at all the dudes that are the bad guys, so you have like Humongous, you have Dementus, and then Immortan Joe. Immortan Joe is the most competent one out of all of them.
To Toe Cutter
in the original.
But I mean, like we also have Immortan Joe's sons who are both just kind of doofs.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like these people, they don't have superpowers to be what they are.
No,
they're just smarter than the average person.
And the average person in these movies are pretty stupid.
Again,
taking them to task.
But that's the thing is like Dementus is not a smart guy. He is a charismatic guy.
I guess maybe that's what I never got from him was I never had a big charismatic moment from him where I'd be like, oh, I can see why people would follow him.
Well, I think what you see is that people don't follow him when his gang starts splintering.
The consistent thing we get from this is he's like, oh, well, you know, I've got a big gang. Well, my gang just splintered. Okay, cool. Well, I'm in charge of Gastown. Well, I'm doing a terrible job running Gastown. We took over Bulletown. And then 2 people showed up and just absolutely wrecked us on it.
No,
are you good at anything, bro?
No, that's kind of the point.
I kind of like that, though, because, like, I just didn't want them to make him like another Immortan Joe. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, he needs to be
like someone that always has a plan.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. He always has a plan. It's just his plans aren't that good.
They're not that.
I think that's maybe he's like what's his name? Book 4 of The Expanse. Is it book 4?
Oh, Marco Inaros.
Yes, he's very Marco. And the whole time that I read that book, I was like, man, why does anybody follow this dude? He's just terrible at everything.
That's the thing. He knows how to say the right words, but he's not actually good at what he does.
And slowly spirals out of his control. Yeah, it felt like a very similar character, and I didn't particularly like that character.
I get it. Yeah,
I just like that he's really good at getting everybody rallied together to do a thing, and then when they get there, it's like we didn't really think about anything past this. When they get to the Citadel, and he's just like talking all this smack.
Dude, I will say that
just
actually,
pick one of my war boys.
That actually might be my favorite sequence when he's like,
gosh,
choose one of my war boys.
It's a great.
And he points him out. He's like, no, the one to the right. And he's like, this dude's like, yes. And it's just bombs in there. It's like any one of the ones you chose would have done the same, and you think you could fight me?
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I love about that too is it shows how idiotic Dementus actually is.
Yeah.
Of him bringing all of his dudes just into the center of this fortress.
We ride motorcycles, so we're super mobile. So let's go sit in the middle of the fortress.
Yeah, everyone has the high ground on you.
Yeah,
it's just like, what are you doing?
Well, presumably up until that point, every encampment he's run up on has been like a little encampment.
Yeah, it's been easy.
So his thoughts like, it's a taller rock, whatever, and doesn't realize that all these like war boys are like ready to go all the way. You know. I mean,
I've already seen the big one, the red rock over there. What could this be?
It's fine. It's just got water in it,
Well, I also like that this kind of like Immortan Joe, like again, he deserves everything that happens to him in Fury Road, 100%.
For sure, yeah.
He's not a good guy. But in this one, he's a very reasonable person.
Actually, he is a lot of times. I was surprised.
It's actually kind of weird,
yeah.
Because I was like, I know he's not supposed to be the good guy here, but like he's better than Dementus.
Right.
It's like somehow the dude who hangs out with the guy who cut his suit so he could pierce his nipples and have chains on them.
Yeah.
It's sounding very reasonable right now.
Yeah.
And the dude who hangs out with a history man sounds like an idiot.
Right. Yeah. But I think that gives good contrast too, that like how Dr. Dementus, I don't know what his degree is in, his doctorate is in, but he's just literally just chaos.
Yeah.
Almost. Like he's like,
but he's not like he's not like
the Joker.
He's not like Joker chaos.
He doesn't take advantage of the chaos, he just is chaos.
Yeah, he's just kind of an idiot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the flip side of that, I will say I did enjoy watching Imperator Jack, Tom Burke's character, because we got
Praetorian Jack.
Praetorian Jack. Yeah. We got someone who was actually hyper competent.
Oh yes,
dude. When he gets,
oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say when he gets out of the big rig in Bullet Town with the lever action, it's like, oh, let's go.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where I remember like whenever you first see him when they're working on the war rig, and I'm like, that guy looks very generic.
Yeah,
and
he sure does. It's like I actually
he just looks like a white dude.
I expected they're like, this is my best war leader. He did whatever. It's like that dude's gonna die in like 20 seconds, right? Like immediate dead.
So when they're like on the road, like in the battle for the stowaway like section, like the whole time I'm like, this guy's actually like really good at what he's doing. And then like at the end, I'm like, oh, he's still alive. He's the main character. Heck yeah, let's go. I like this guy.
He's like the only person to drive an 18-wheeler in the Mad Max universe to realize, oh yeah, I can just like run over these motorcycles. I'm like way bigger than they are. I can just kind of shimmy to the right, shimmy to the left.
Yeah, what's this? Like 6,000-pound semi truck that I can just run over this like 300-pound motorcycle.
80,000 pounds. Or whatever. Actually, I mean, it's not like they have to meet a legal limit. It's probably 150,000 pounds of bigger.
It's got two.
Whoa! How heavy is that rig? Turn it around. Here's your citation.
We're gonna check the weight on every axle.
I want to know how heavy those the big ball,
the spinny things
on
in
the back.
Yeah,
the bobber knocker.
Heavy enough.
They try to call it.
I was mad they didn't use that more. They were like, okay, we're gonna reel it. I was like, no, I would have had that thing cranked from the get.
As soon as they showed up, I'd be like, turn it on.
Yeah, I'd have.
Either it uses a lot of gas or it uses it based off the axle.
It should have cut to the inside, and it should be 3 people on bicycles just like powering it like a gerbil wheel. Just
well, so I also like the buildup that they have for that of like the first time you use it, because like clearly it's like, okay, this thing clearly spins, like
very obviously.
The small war boy the whole time was like, can I use it now? Can I use it now? Can I use it now? And then he just dies.
I know.
And it's one of those kind of
bad for him.
Well, I feel bad for him, but it's one of those kind of moments where it's like, yeah, they shot at you, you died.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like what we were saying with like some of the action in Fury Road, where it's as crazy as it is, sometimes it feels grounded because it's like not everything goes to plan. Yeah. Not everything is just like
not everything's a heroic moment.
It even goes back to like the Road Warrior, where they go to blow the tire and the dude just sticks his hand in the tire and just gets wrecked by it. Yeah. Well, you messed up, buddy.
Yeah.
Too eager.
Too eager. That Darwin took its course there.
It sure did. Yeah. It probably could have taken its course on that guy for years before that, given the state of things. But
hey, you win some, you lose some.
It's one of those moments where Darwin's been looking the other way for a long time. It's about time he turned this way.
Yeah.
Sauron's eye.
What did you guys think about the 5-act structure of the story?
I liked it.
I wasn't sure how I felt about the little it's this, it's that. It's like the break in between. Yeah. Because it was like, well, obviously we start out with a little kid for Furiosa.
Yeah, for two parts of it too.
We have to age her up to get her to be, Anya Taylor-Joy age, not Charlize Theron. Yeah. But, we have to get her up some age.
Well, and I thought they did a pretty good job of they did some CG in the middle where it made her look more like Anya Taylor-Joy.
They did do some work to make her face a little more
until the point where it was Anya Taylor-Joy in the outfit, and I didn't catch it just yet. Yeah. And I was like, oh, it's already switched to her. Okay. Because she already does kind of look young, she could pass for younger.
She's like, what, early 30s?
Let me check.
But she has a baby face. She looks
really
very
does,
young.
She was born in 96. What does that do for you?
Don't make us do math.
She's 28.
8, yeah.
Yeah.
They don't just list actresses' ages on here. Come on.
Okay. You can't sort by age. Come on.
Filtered by age? That's terrible.
So the flip side of that was they showed with the bit where her self-created wig gets stuck on the rock face and the tree branch grows up. So they show the passage of time with that. I thought that was a really good way of showing it.
I like that.
That's a cool scene too.
Once I saw that, I was like, you could just stuff like that instead of doing these little interlude.
No, I like the interludes though, because you really got to.
It made it feel too episodic. It didn't flow. It made it feel too episodic for it being one movie.
I can understand
what
that.
I was going to say is that I appreciate what they were trying to do with the episodic stuff, but I don't feel like they fully nailed it in that each act doesn't feel like completely different
like
from
a different
the other
arc. Yeah.
Definitely the first two kind of feel about the same.
That could have been one arc. Yeah. You could have done it in 3 parts maybe.
Right.
But also because we've seen, a bunch of other Mad Max films up to this point, this is the first time something like this has popped up and I was like, wow, this is different.
Well, I guess for me, it's kind of like a mixed bag because I like what they're going for, and some of them work.
I like the concept. I just don't know that the execution ultimately added anything to it.
I don't feel like it justified the reason for splitting it into 5 distinct chapters, right? Because it's like if you're going to do that, each one needs to be, to me, wholly different than to have like an actual,
or have like its own complete mini arc within it.
Yeah, some of them just felt like a weird scene break, and it would just go black and then pick back up, and I'm like, okay, well, not even that much time changed, because like some of them there is a huge time shift.
Yeah,
but like,
there's a skip. Yeah,
others there's not, and it's like, so this is just like the next day.
This is like tomorrow.
Yeah, like what? Like why would you have the whole scene? That should be like a month. Some of them are. It's I don't know. For me, it felt inconsistently executed on that front.
Now I know that they like there really isn't any kind of timeline of like how long it's been since the actual like bombs dropped.
Quote unquote, if that's what happened.
Ish, yeah. When people
Society
destroyed
fell.
the world,
Yeah.
Because I would like to know, like, if you're looking at someone that is like really old, like the history man, like clearly you were alive before the fall.
Yeah.
But then like Jack, I'm like, were you alive?
Well,
and
he
had
says
like
his parents were soldiers.
yeah.
And that they wanted to fight for an honorable cause. So it makes you think that they were maybe like the last generation.
That was like still fighting wars and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Because there's been speculation that like, oh, well, his parents were in the original Mad Max, the moving force.
Oh, whatever those.
I cannot remember. The Interceptors. I cannot remember his name. It's a stupid name.
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely has the skills for it.
He certainly is, again, like top 3 competent people we've seen in this universe.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I mean, because like there are even points with like Mad Max where you're like, dude, do you know what you're doing? Whereas this guy's
he
like
doesn't.
absolutely just bang on knows what's going on. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow, really?
I think my problem with Praetorian Jack was that I don't feel like we got enough with him
I think we needed a little bit more.
to really make it to where I cared about him
we
enough.
almost needed a little more of a relationship between him and Furiosa.
Even if it's not a romantic relationship, like it made it out
professional
like
relationship.
this guy's gonna teach me everything he knows, and then you see her go on like one run with him, and then she just knows everything, and it's like, well, I kind of would have liked to seen her learn the ropes.
something.
If you kind of pulled back a little bit, if you basically pulled back that second section when she's still really young, and then expanded it out a little bit more to where they had more time together, then I think it would have been a lot better.
I feel like that would have been more impactful than some of the kid stuff we got.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like shrink down the time we spent as a kid and expand a little bit for this middle run.
Yeah.
No, the kid actress did a fantastic job.
She was
great.
great. Yeah, no complaints there at all.
There was just a couple of scenes with the kid part that I felt like you could have trimmed that up to give us more time with him.
I agree.
So that when it happens when he dies and she loses him, you feel it a little more, because when it happened, I was like, that guy, what was his Jack?
Actually, so now that is a complaint for just the Mad Max franchise as a whole. Is there are a lot of people who I'm like, oh yeah,
that guy,
what's his name? No one ever says these people.
They say their name one time.
You get one shot at it. That's it.
And if you didn't hear it, well, too bad.
I would say, like, to compare like to the characters in like Fury Road, right? When you think about Fury Road, you've got Furiosa, Mad Max, Immortan Joe. You've got the weird nipple out dude from Bullet Farm or Gastown, the Man Eater.
People Eater.
You've got
People Eater,
all the brides.
I think it's the one-eye, one-horn fly. People Eater.
But like you have a lot of characters.
Yeah.
And in this one we do too, but for me a lot of them were less memorable. Like
also, most of them, if you saw Fury
the
Road,
returning characters,
you know who they're going to be, because
Yeah.
you know who the People Eater is, you know who the Bullet Farmer is, you know who Immortan Joe is.
Yeah.
We get like the one extra that is the other son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Scrotus.
I thought we were going to have an explanation of why he's not in
Well,
Fury
I was
Road, but-
expecting him to die in this.
So what's going to happen is we're going to have Rise of Scrotus, a Mad Max Saga.
Which what's crazy is he was the Nux's the same actor, the friend, the one that stole the steering wheel at the front. And
that's what I thought, because I was like, he looks like the same. Well, he sounds like the same guy. So maybe
same actor.
he turned in. Well, maybe he turned into a war boy.
Scrotus. Oh,
He turned into a war boy.
you're demoted from my son to a war boy.
It could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know how the system works.
we don't know.
We really don't know.
But I'm glad, because I was like, I know that actor, and I know that he's been in a Mad Max film.
Right. It was literally Fury Road. But so what I'm trying to get at is, like, I feel like with the brides in Fury Road, right? You get an arc with them, right?
Yes.
Like you see where they're at when they escape. With Furiosa, you get an arc. With a lot of them, you get an arc. With this movie, I feel like the only person that really gets an arc is Furiosa. Like,
I think you get an arc. You get an arc with Dementis.
Dementis,
well.
but not even as much as because he's still Dementis the whole way through.
Or is it like a downward trajectory?
That's still an arc.
That's still an arc, yeah.
You can shoot a cannon and it goes up and then goes down.
Yeah. Sometimes you shoot it straight down.
Just right into the ground.
The cannon.
If it's on the equator, it's all off.
It's all off. It just flushes right down.
Make a hole. You just flush the Gulf of Mexico.
But to that point, though, I still feel like even though it's the two of them really get like an arc, the movie's titled Furiosa, so obviously she's going to get the most attention.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But I felt like, again, in Fury Road, you just get more people with more of a change. Like Nux has a whole arc.
Well, it's like you get more time where the camera follows somebody else. Like in Fury Road, it follows Mad Max for a bit. It follows Furiosa for a bit. It follows Nux for a bit.
Yeah.
Like it actually has whereas here it's like at best we have two people.
Well, now I'll also say this too is because this is much more story based, like linear storytelling. The story is much more complex than what Fury Road was, where it's literally we're just driving straight on a road and we're having some fights every once in a while.
Linear stories you can ask for.
Well,
they go straight out, they come straight back.
It's really simplified. Now you can have these character moments and character arcs because there's really nothing else to do.
Well, if you didn't have them, what else would you have? Just a bunch of stunts.
Yeah. So like with that, when you have this, which is much more like nuanced storytelling.
Well, there's a lot more plot to get through, and you don't have as much space for character development, I guess.
Which was good. I think that they told an interesting story here. Again, like I said, pre-spoiler jump, I got way more story than I expected to get. And a little less action than I kind of thought. It was weird because like I feel watching Fury Road, not that long ago, it feels like all the big set pieces are just way bigger.
Yeah.
And then with this almost kind of felt like watching the Road Warrior for like the highway chase and stuff because it's just it doesn't feel like you have
big.
Every time that we have the big field of people moving around, it was just Dementis's doofuses driving around motorcycles, and they didn't do anything.
What if that was their real name? Dementis's doofuses.
That'd be a great. I mean, you had Doof Warrior. Why not?
Okay, actually, two things. One, I think that's also one of the reasons why this doesn't have the punch is because one, there was only like very minimal action stuff happening in this film, but then two,
that's
a
wild
lot
to
of
say
it wasn't practical.
Some of it wasn't.
So, and because it wasn't practical, it definitely kind of reduced some of the edge. Because in Fury Road, you're just like, especially the first time watching it,
they actually put these dudes up on these poles and swung them back and forth.
What in the heck is happening?
Well, and I feel like a lot of the early movie is hurt because the child actor, they're not going to put her in danger, so they're almost all her scenes are CG or green screen because it's like, what are you going to do? Throw a kid on the back of a motorcycle and like
who do you think you are, the director of a Neverending Story?
Right, exactly. So I feel like the early out of the gate stuff is affected, but to your point, with a new cinematographer and obviously maybe the making of Fury Road was pretty troubled with technological issues with the sand getting everything.
They didn't want to take on this much effort.
Yeah, it could have been just it was a nightmare to make, and they were like, we can't repeat that. Like,
well, because this time too, like obviously you have a very small amount of cars or different cars compared to the last one. You really have like 4, I think, that are unique.
The motorcycle chariot, which won, fantastic.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Awesome.
I love it
so hard.
Great addition to the pantheon of vehicles in the Mad Max Saga. You have the monster truck. The
6-wheeled monster truck, which is awesome.
Tow truck. Monster tow truck.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to get...
then obviously the War Rig.
A different War Rig.
Version 1 of War Rig.
Well, this was the fancy one. It had all the scroll work on the
really
side.
Cool.
It looked really good.
Great design.
I was like, so what's the one in Fury Road? Just like version 8 of this? They've just been patching it together the whole time.
It keeps wrecking. Like, oh my God. Go get the monster truck, tow truck to bring it back.
And then we had kind of like the...
You have Scrotus's car that gets stolen at the end.
Oh, yeah, that one. And then just kind of like the flying ones that they had, which are...
I like the little flying guys.
Oh, I did too. I thought they were fun. Yeah,
that was a cool little scene. Because I saw, like early on, you see the dude, he's got the fan on the back of his bike.
I was like,
that's weird.
That's a weird choice.
There's no way that adds any thrust to you. And then they show them later, and they're all like flying around. Like, oh, okay, we have some aerial advantages.
Octopus parachute.
That was beyond over the top.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, what is that? That's wild.
We live in a decaying wasteland of a failed technology and a failed society. And this dude's like, I got a huge octopus parachute. Don't ask me where I got it from.
It was intimidating looking though. It was weird. It was like unsettling. Is that an alien? What am I looking at?
Yeah, I guarantee you that whenever that guy was scavenging somewhere, he found this thing. He was like, "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen."
That would be one of those moments where it's like, if we could get that in a flashback, he's like he and his boys like rummaging through like an old beat up gas station. He opens a box and he pulls it. Man, there's a lot of black. And he keeps pulling it. And like eventually,
the wind catches it.
He's got to take off his big horn helmet. He's like, "Yo, check this out." He holds out, and ripples in the wind. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, and there's no TV, so this is like the wildest thing they've ever seen.
Just imagine being
Can you imagine how cool I'm gonna look flying on this? Yeah, do it, do it, do it, do it.
Well, just imagine being on the opposite end of just being like a normal person in the wasteland, and then seeing this massive wave of bikers and this octopus thing in the air. I'd be terrified.
Like a sky squid. You're like one of these like you
can't even parse what's coming out. I don't know what that is.
Ground digging hovel livers who have like the little thing on their back. You poke your head. You're like, oh my god, it's the great death squid of the sky.
Yeah,
back in the hole.
Back in the hole. Oh, how intense was it when she got down there in the hole with the people eater or whatever?
Did not like that.
That.
Yeah,
dude, like that lady, when they tried to pull her in there as a kid, I was like, I don't like that lady. And then later I was like, oh crap, is that the same lady?
I still don't like that lady.
I don't think she's helping her.
Now, granted, she had blue eyes.
Okay.
So, no. They specifically were like very blue. And Anya Taylor-Joy's was also very blue eyes.
You're saying that was her mom.
No, I'm saying that was
like someone
from her
the mother.
Yeah, her coven or whatever.
Hold on. Starts with a V.
I thought you were going to say
Vulvolani.
Vuvellini. Sorry, Vuvellini.
I thought you were going to say that she was, on the spice here. Been to Arrakis.
No, maybe that's the actual catch. This is early Dune.
She's the first Reverend Mother.
The War Boys are the Fremen.
Oh my gosh, this is it.
It's time for the Dune Mad Max combined cinematic universe.
Oh my gosh.
What a totally different.
What if this is a prequel to a movie that is also a prequel to something that happens 3,000 years later? Whoa! Actually, it's like 1,000.
This would be incredible. Yeah. We should totally do this.
Oh, please no. Let's not stretch this one out. Don't beat this one to death. The world's already been destroyed.
The world's already dead. No, I think for me, the other thing is this is kind of like my closing thoughts, right? Is that like when I think of Fury Road, I have like 3 or 4 action scenes that just like spring to mind that are like Max on the pole and the tanker exploding behind it. Yeah. Like, and then when I think of this one, I have to really think for a minute, and not that like some of the action scenes aren't creative. It has like the fan parachute guys, but I really have to think about it for a minute, whereas nothing just springs to mind. And so if what you're going to do in this is tell me more of a drama with a bigger plot, I feel like the plot beats and the drama wasn't as good as the action was in Fury Road.
It didn't hit hard enough to leave a big enough memory to say, ooh, I like this as good as Fury Road, but in a different sense.
Right.
Well, and it's just
still very good, though.
Yeah.
Where it feels like it has a different purpose.
It does.
Ultimately, and so it just doesn't have that big hit.
Yeah.
Where as like Fury Road, by the end of it, you're like,
yeah,
is
you're
it over?
gasping for air.
But this had a lot of moments in it where you could actually breathe and kind of look around and then be like, oh, their bicycles are getting winched up because they're all idiots.
So oh no, I was gonna say 2 things real quick. What did you think about Anya Taylor-Joy as Furiosa versus Charlize Theron's original?
I think it was a good casting.
I think it was a fantastic casting. I don't like. They both brought roughly the same kind of energy. Obviously, Charlize Theron is much more mature at that point in her storyline. So it's a different vibe.
Small complaint there, because essentially this film ends with us seeing the beginning of Fury Road, and it's like, hey, she's not old enough to be Charlize Theron yet.
Well, no, we don't know the time passage.
I read that as a time.
As like a time.
This is just like,
she does grow, the crotch tree on the dude.
Maybe
long enough to get fruit out of it.
Yeah.
So that's
a hell of a way to torture someone.
Oh man, I also would like to have known.
Wouldn't work.
I also would have liked to have known who the narrator was.
Maybe it was the kid from Road Warrior.
Oh, it's the feral child.
The feral child.
Oh, so
boomerang.
This is actually the Feral Child cinematic universe.
Well, so I'm just waiting for like the one big cameo that George Miller is like waiting for is that he's gonna have the dude throw the boomerang and like kill someone on screen when they're about to murder the main character.
They're gonna be like driving down a road in the next film, and also just out of the shining gleam,
and then it cuts back, and a grown man goes, ugh. Okay, so the alternate endings, right? Like, because I think what George Miller has kind of described, the reason he leans into the incontinuity in like the different movies is he was like, this is kind of like
Tales of the Wasteland, where someone is telling
someone's
you
telling it. Yeah. So that whole thing right there at the end, I actually liked because I was like, oh, this is like one person says this is how she killed him. One person says
I liked
this.
that.
I really liked that.
I liked that they left it ambiguous just because you have the whole showdown where Dr. Doofusmas is
Dr.
like
Dementus
is like, well, you're just like me. She's like, I'm nothing like you. And it's like, well, if you kill him in the same way that he's killed people, you're still torturing him. You're still just kind of like him, but you're not. You're more inventive.
But man, the like if she killed him with the tree, that's a heck of a way to kill someone.
crazy.
That's a very Fallout scenario.
Yeah.
And then the Mad Max cameo I felt was very unnecessary.
It's just stupid.
I mean, I think it was just as unnecessary to have like the Doof Warrior as a cameo in the film.
That was weird too. Where they're like, "Hey, in the last run here, we're gonna show you all the stuff you liked from Fury Road."
Yeah,
like, you don't have to.
I was like, we don't need to see any of this.
It almost kind of felt like instead of it being a George Miller production, this was like Sony, and we got to protect these IPs, guys. Get the Fantastic Four in there somewhere. Just shoehorn them in.
Well, and it's like, I wonder if they thought that was going to be more of a pop in the audience. It was like, oh, it's Mad Max. But like in my audience, they were like, okay. But that scene in particular confused me because she's wandering through, the wasteland.
Well, he's on like the
an arm.
exact same ridge. And it's almost like, so does he pick her up? Have they met before?
Right. Well, because the next scene is she's underground in like the what do you call those people that are eating?
Hovels.
Hole dwellers.
Yeah. They're eating corpses. The hole dwellers.
The hobbits.
And I'm like,
budget hobbits.
The Wish.com version of hobbits.
Hobbits
Is the Citadel the Shire?
No, that's Gondor.
It's Gondor? What would Bullet Town be?
Mark? Well, obviously, Bullet Town's Rohan.
Clearly.
Definitely.
Gastown's Bardor.
I guess Gastown
is Mordor.
Mordor?
Yeah. Technically Osgiliath. Yeah.
They got the fire. Yeah. Okay. That tracks. Anyways, Max
minus Morgul
walks to his car and then it cuts.
Minus whatever.
Oh my God. He walks to his car.
Ryan's like, I can't handle the nerd.
And then I'm like, so did he pick her up and take her there and give her to the body lady?
See, I felt like that threw me because it was like, did they meet before? Because she's like a total jerk to him in Fury Road.
That's the stuff.
He rescued you, lady.
There's no way that she would know that.
But then does he remember her in Fury Road? Because I don't like stuff like that in prequels where it's these characters.
I definitely agree there.
Because now it puts a whole new shading on their showdown at the tanker where he's just like, I rescued you. I was like, score. I saved this lady's arm.
He just does the Leo pointing meme.
Beating the crap out of him. Yeah.
Arm. I saved you. I'm trying to look through the cast to find the narrator, and there's this one poor guy, Darcy Bryce, who's just labeled as Piss Boy. Because he's the guy that was pouring the year. And I'm like, what if this is the biggest movie he's been a part of? And it's like, what's your claim to fame?
I was in the new movie.
What's your character's name?
Piss Boy.
Don't worry about it, Grandma.
Dude, actually, Grandma's not the problem. The problem is you're like super tight group of friends that you've known for the last 2 decades.
Hey, Piss Boy.
Hey, you know what? We're going for pizza, Piss Boy. You want to come along? Like, you never living that one down.
Never.
So I really did like, and I think this actually shows, just going back to Dr. Dementus, just how fickle he is, where basically every time he got his new color change on his parachute cape,
I did like that it was an old parachute.
I did, yeah.
Nice
But
touch.
like the second that like he gets hit by the flare and it turns red, he's now Dementus the Red.
Yeah. Oh, he was all over
like,
the place.
and it's
Yeah.
just, it's that kind of mentality of going into like all of these engagement that he has, where he's like, "Oh, cool, I'm red now."
But
Yeah,
you also
He's kind of like Johnny Bravo.
I had that moment. Look out, man! I had that moment where I was like,
Well, look at that chick over there.
He not gonna wash that? You know, I was like, oh yeah, in what? Gasoline? But I think it looks cool. The red.
I did
it looks
like,
really cool.
Yeah.
I did like the maneuver with where they like baited Gastown and then they moved through the gully and they were spraying oil so that it wouldn't kick up all the dust. I was like, oh, look at them. They're doing something really smart and cool. And like, this is it. This is all they get for the whole movie.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I will say, I do kind of like the parachute doesn't show up in Fury Road, right?
No.
No.
Because she's definitely wearing it at the end of this one. So it's like, did you like bury him in it, or what'd you do with it?
They
Well,
weren't
I
thinking
mean-
about the parachute at that time
they
during
didn't.
production.
They had the whole
Yeah.
script written. They knew it existed.
They do it. I do think that like the ending where it starts cutting to the scenes of Fury Road was unnecessary.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
100%.
And I thought it was a
Like,
weird
what are we?
choice.
Well, yeah, what are we doing here?
At first, I was like, okay. And then I thought, are they gonna? Well, like the very first scene where Charlize Theron is running with the brides.
Yeah.
I was like, was that a deleted scene they didn't use in Fury Road? Because I don't think they got Charlize to come back. And so I was like, interesting. Are they going to show more delete? Like, are they going to?
Yeah.
That
That'd be
would
cool.
have been kind of
That
interesting.
would've been- yeah, but then it's like, oh, it's just the other
Then
movie.
it just start showing
Like,
other
what are we
scenes,
doing
and I'm
here?
like, you don't have to tie this together. Like,
Yeah.
we got it.
we know.
It was in the title.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like you're saying, like there's presumably like what a 20-year jump, a 10-year
Yeah,
jump between.
Well, so
this and
whenever
Fury
she meets them at the end of Fury Road, her brethren, the
Vuvolini.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been 20 years.
She's
Right, okay.
Yeah, like that lady's old.
Old,
Who is like
yeah.
she's like still like in her 40s or whatever at that point. I don't
Yeah,
know.
so it's
I don't know.
been-
It's the wasteland.
well, I mean,
she's
yeah.
probably like 25 then, and she's only like 45.
Yeah,
when she's
right.
like,
The
"Hey,
Australian
you
sun
know,
does a lot to
it
you.
just beats you up, man. You don't have a steady supply of sunscreen.
Oh gosh.
Okay, well, all right. On that note, speaking of a steady supply,
Would you recommend it?
Absolutely, yeah. I would.
Okay.
If you like Mad Max, go see this movie.
What are you doing? Yeah, get out
if
of
you watch Fury Road, if you watch some of the classics, absolutely. Like this,
Yeah.
again, I think this fits more into the older movies than it does.
It does.
in a lot of ways.
It feels like the older movies than it does Fury Road, which I think that you still need to watch Fury Road before this.
I don't know how necessary it really is to do so. I think it
if
helps.
If you've never seen Fury Road, you could watch it after this.
Yeah.
According to George Miller, you absolutely can.
Well,
yeah.
He's gonna.
'Cause, I mean,
go see my movie. Pay
I don't
money.
think anything you know about Furiosa in Fury Road is essential to watch this necessarily.
No, I don't think so either.
If anything, that might be the better way to watch it.
Maybe,
because
yeah.
then
then
you
Fury
don't know
Road's just
where.
like,
and then you're just
boring.
like, what is this? You come out of like all this story and development for Furiosa, and then it's just, hey, here's 2 hours of action stunt spectacular with the character you just got to know really well.
Yeah.
That might play really well.
maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
Alrighty, well, before we let you go, because we are wrapping it up here, we have to talk about our Patreon.
For just $1 a month, you can get access to all of our bonus episodes, bonus content, commentaries, Patreon picks polls. We have
All of it.
all sorts of fun stuff. We have, I was going to say surveys. We didn't do any surveys.
No, Patreon picks polls.
That's kind of like a survey.
It is kind of like a survey.
We put out a themed voting that anyone who's a patron can vote on, where you can help dictate what we will review. Patrons get early access to it, and then eventually it does make it to the main feed. The most recent one we did was themed around heists.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which, shocker, Ocean's 11 won that one.
Yep.
So at some point that will make its way to the main feed.
Soonish.
Soonish. TM.
But if you're a
When we're
patron,
recording this, we don't. Yeah.
if you're a patron, you've already listened to it because that's one of the cool benefits
That's one of the
paying us
perks.
$1 a month.
Yeah. Along with getting to listen to us go crazy while talking about things like ChatGPT, which will, eventually end the world.
Yeah,
Sure.
probably.
Yeah. You know. Not in a cool way, in a stupid way. It'll be
Yeah,
really
in a really,
stupid.
really dumb way.
What if it does it in a really cool way and you get egg on your face?
Google will be telling all the cool kids they should eat rocks, and that's how the fall of society.
like society is falling around. And Steven just gets a call from Ryan. I told you.
I told you! Look how cool this is!
Look at the colors.
Isn't this awesome?
The world was flooded with beer. This rules!
What a terrible way to drown.
Yeah.
Alrighty. As always, if you would follow us on socials, leave us a review wherever you're listening now, and share us with a friend. But until next time, I'm Steven.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Ryan.
And every spoiler was intended.